A convicted godman has just walked out of jail again, not for the second time, not for the fifth time, but for the 16th time since his rape conviction in 2017. Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh, the chief of Dera Sacha Sauda, has been granted 30 days of parole. He walked out of Sunaria jail in Rohtak, Haryana on the morning of May 26, 2026, and this is why the story has triggered so much anger. This is not a man serving a small sentence for a minor crime. Ram Rahim was convicted in August 2017 by a special CBI court for raping 2 female disciples inside his ashram between 1999 and 2001. He was sentenced to 2 consecutive 10-year terms of rigorous imprisonment, which means 20 years in prison. The court also fined him 15 lakh rupees per victim. But since that conviction, he has been repeatedly released on parole and furlough. By the latest count, this is his 16th temporary release, and when you add it all up, he has spent roughly 435 to 450 days outside jail since his conviction. That is more than a year. For many people, that single number captures the entire problem. A rape convict with enormous political and social influence appears to be moving in and out of prison with a kind of regularity that ordinary prisoners can only imagine. But to understand why this has become such a massive controversy, we need to go back to who Ram Rahim is, what he was convicted for, and why his releases keep coming under political scrutiny. Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh is the head of Dera Sacha Sauda, a religious and social sect based in Sirsa, Haryana. For decades, the Dera built a large following across Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, Delhi, and parts of Uttar Pradesh. That following is not just spiritual, it is also political. Dera supporters are concentrated in several important regions and constituencies. In election season, that kind of organized support can matter. And that is where the story becomes much bigger than one prisoner getting parole. Ram Rahim's 2017 conviction was a turning point. After he was found guilty in the rape case, his followers rioted across Haryana and Punjab. More than 40 people died in violence in Panchkula and Sirsa. He had to be airlifted by helicopter to Rohtak's Sunaria jail. That alone tells you the scale of his influence. But the rape conviction was not the only major case linked to him. He was also convicted in 2019 in the murder case of journalist Ram Chandra Chhatrapati, who had reported on allegations against the Dera. That conviction was later overturned by the Punjab and Haryana High Court in March 2026. He was also accused in the murder case of former Dera manager Ranjit Singh. In that case, too, he was acquitted by the Punjab and Haryana High Court in May 2024. Other cases remain important. The forced castration case involving allegations related to hundreds of followers is still pending trial, though he was granted bail in that matter in 2018. Sacrilege cases related to the Guru Granth Sahib are also pending after the Supreme Court lifted a High Court stay on the trial in October 2024. So legally, the most important active conviction keeping him in prison is still the 2017 rape conviction. And yet, since that conviction, his temporary releases have become a pattern. The first parole came in October 2020 for 1 day. Then in May 2021, he was released for 12 hours to visit his ailing mother. After that, the releases became longer. In February 2022, he got 21 days of furlough shortly before the Punjab Assembly elections. In June 2022, he got 30 days of parole. In October 2022, he got 40 days. In January 2023, another 40 days. In July 2023, 30 days. In November 2023, 21 days of furlough. Then came 2024. In January, he got 50 days of furlough. In August, 21 days. In October, 20 days of parole shortly before the Haryana Assembly elections. In January 2025, he got 30 days of parole around the time of the Delhi elections. In April 2025, he got 21 days of furlough. In August 2025, 40 days of parole. In January 2026, another 40 days. And now, In May 2026, another 30 days. That is the 16th release. The key point here is not just the number, it is the timing. Critics argue that several of these releases have come close to elections in states where the Dara vote bank may matter. Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, and nearby regions have all been part of this political conversation. This latest 30-day parole has also been flagged because it coincides with Punjab municipal elections. Now, legally parole and furlough are not automatically illegal. Prisoners can be granted temporary release under specific laws and conditions. In Haryana, the authority comes under the Haryana Good Conduct Prisoners Temporary Release Act of 2022. The Haryana government is the competent authority in these matters. Supporters of the legal process may argue that if a prisoner meets the criteria, then he can apply for parole like others. That is the formal legal position. But the public anger is about something deeper. People are asking whether the system works the same way for everyone. Because while Ram Rahim has received repeated temporary releases, many under-trials in India spend years in jail without their trials being completed. That contrast has become one of the biggest reasons for the outrage. On social media, the reaction has been overwhelmingly critical. People are calling it revolving door justice. Some are saying his sentence looks like occasionally checking into jail, not actually serving prison time. Others are pointing to the optics of a convicted prisoner walking out with security vehicles in public attention. Journalist Rajdeep Sardesai compared Ram Rahim's repeated parole with the case of Umar Khalid, who has remained in jail for years without trial. Others described him as a special category prisoner because of his political usefulness. The anger is not limited to one political side. Across Twitter and Reddit, many users have described the pattern as a mockery of justice, a symbol of double standards, and an example of how influence changes outcomes. The Shiromani Gurdwara Parbandha Committee has also objected, calling the release hurtful to Sikh sentiments, especially because of the pending sacrilege cases. Political leaders from opposition parties have accused the BJP-led Haryana government and even other governments of enabling special treatment because of the Dara's electoral influence. This is where the political angle becomes impossible to ignore. Dara Sacha Sauda has millions of followers, and in a close election, even a small shift in organized voter support can matter. Reports have described BJP leaders seeking Ram Rahim's blessings before elections and visiting him after victories. Whether one sees that as normal outreach or political dependency depends on perspective. But the pattern has created a strong public perception that Ram Rahim's influence protects him from the ordinary weight of punishment. And perception matters especially in justice. Because justice is not only about what is technically allowed, it is also about whether people believe the system is fair. Here is the uncomfortable part. Ram Rahim is not being released because his conviction has disappeared. He is still serving the 20-year sentence in the rape case. The murder case convictions have been overturned, but the rape conviction remains. The pending cases remain, and the public memory of the 2017 riots remains. And still, he has now spent around 435 to 450 days outside jail since conviction. With this latest release, he has reportedly exhausted his full 10-week parole quota for 2026. But he may still be able to apply for a 3-week furlough. That means the controversy may not end here. The larger question is not only about Ram Rahim, it is about what his case says about power in India. Does a prisoner with a large vote bank experience the justice system differently from an ordinary citizen? Do political calculations quietly shape decisions that are supposed to be administrative? And when repeated releases happen around election seasons, how can the public be expected not to connect the dots? To be clear, parole is part of the legal system, and it exists for a reason. It can help prisoners deal with family emergencies, reintegration, and personal circumstances. But when the same high-profile convict is released again and again, and when those releases repeatedly overlap with politically sensitive periods, the issue stops looking like routine prison administration. It starts looking like a test of public trust. And right now, that trust is badly damaged. Ram Rahim's case sits at the intersection of crime, religion, politics, and justice. He is not just a prisoner. He is the head of a sect with electoral weight. He is not just a convict. He is a political signal. And his parole is not just a legal event. It has become a symbol of how power can bend the experience of punishment. That is why this story keeps returning. Because every new parole brings back the same question. In India's justice system, is punishment decided only by the law or also by the size of the crowd standing behind you?